Chapter 1041. Mommy is having a stomachache. Zachary was not entirely convinced, as it didn't make sense for Benjamin to summon Sean over such a trivial matter. You're not telling me the truth. Didn't Mommy go horse riding with you? How could she have eaten anything bad that would have caused a stomachache then? Even if that were true, Mr. Bailey wouldn't be needed because there would be doctors that could treat her there. Benjamin raised his brows just as Sean entered the ward. Boss, I've gotten a better understanding of Mrs. Graham's condition from the doctor and have taken a look at her test report. Benjamin quickly cut Sean off. Hush, you're disturbing her sleep. Sean scratched the tip of his nose sheepishly when he noticed that Benjamin was on the phone. You need not fret yourself over your mommy. I'll ask her to call you once she wakes up. I trust you to take good care of Grandpa and great-grandaunt over there, Benjamin reassured Zachary. With that, he hung up and went back into the ward. Glancing at him, Sean asked in a whisper, was it a call from one of the kids? It was Zachary. How severe is her condition? Benjamin pocketed his phone and asked, worried. Sean looked at Arissa and lowered his voice as he said, it shouldn't be taken lightly, but neither is it too serious. It would be best for her to be on bed rest and not move around. She should also avoid getting too worked up. Sean explained Arissa's current condition while Benjamin took it all in attentively. I recommend that Mrs. Graham stay put in the hospital to be observed for several more days and to get an injection to stabilize her pregnancy. She can transfer to my place once her condition improves, Sean proposed to Benjamin. Got it. Benjamin nodded. Sean handed him the pills and told him some other details. Boss, grind these pills and mix them with water before letting Mrs. Graham drink the solution. Okay. Benjamin noted it down. Sean stayed behind and waited for Arissa to wake up. When Edwin brought dinner over for them, Benjamin woke Arissa up. Arissa called out blearily, Benjamin. Blinking, she stared at the man standing at the side of the bed. Benjamin bent over and caressed her head as he said soothingly, let's have dinner. You can go back to sleep after that. Sure. Arissa was still muzzy from sleep as Benjamin went to the restroom to grab a towel for her. Mrs. Graham, how are you feeling? Asked Sean, checking Arissa's condition. It was only then that she realized both Sean and Edwin were present. Mr. Bailey, why are you here? Arissa struggled to sit up but Sean stopped her from doing so. Boss was worried and asked me to come over to check up on you. Benjamin returned from the restroom and strode over, pushing Sean aside as he carefully helped Arissa up. Take it easy. He then placed a pillow behind Arissa to support her back. Okay, I'll be careful. Arissa nodded. Not wanting to disturb the couple, Sean turned away. Subsequently, Benjamin wiped Arissa's face and wrapped her up in the blanket. I feel a little tired. Arissa responded to Sean's earlier question and greeted Edwin. That's normal since you're on a drip. Sean felt for the pulse on her wrist once more and queried meticulously. Is your stomach still painful? Not at all. Arissa leaned against the headrest as she patiently answered the slew of questions from Sean. Edwin was not privy to what happened to Arissa. As such, he listened in on their conversation. Mrs. Graham, since you were bleeding, you should stay in bed as much as possible and avoid sudden drastic movements. Even getting up from the bed as you did just now is strongly discouraged. Be careful and take it slow. Try not to get too emotional, too. Sean gave Arissa some pointers, advising her to watch out. Arissa nodded. I'll take note of that. Also, don't get too nervous. Relaxing is key for a speedy recovery. He added, if you need anything, boss will be at your service. Amused, Arissa grinned when Sean winked mischievously at her, signaling her to make good use of Benjamin. Chapter 1042. Arissa eyed Benjamin. Likewise, Benjamin locked his gaze on her with a concerned look. She comforted him in a soft voice, I'm all right. Benjamin gently tucked her stray hair behind her ear and asked, do you want to eat now? Yes, Arissa said as she nodded. Benjamin asked Edwin to prop the small table on the bed. Edwin and Sean proceeded to set it up without delay. Let's drink some soup first, Benjamin said. He took over the bowl of hot soup and blew on it to cool it down before feeding her. Careful, it's hot. Sean and Edwin, who were standing aside, were astounded when they saw how meticulous and considerate Benjamin was being. They had never seen him so patient and gentle, not even when he used to feed Gavin in the past. Orissa took a sip. When she noticed that Sean and Edwin were watching them intently, her face flushed with embarrassment. "Let's eat together, guys." In a good mood, Sean rubbed his hands together and said, "Mrs. Graham, you should eat first. You go ahead and take your time eating. I'm going to eat after I return home later." "So, is something up with you, Mrs. Graham?" Edwin inquired out of concern. Sean explained Orissa's situation to Edwin on her behalf. "Mrs. Graham is pregnant." "Huh, really?" Edwin was taken aback by the news. "However, they went horse riding today and almost. Anyway, just prepare foods that are suitable for pregnant women," Sean reminded Edwin. Edwin nodded his head happily. "All right, I got it. Mrs. Graham is pregnant again. We're going to have a new family member." Sean smiled when he noticed how happy Edwin was. Benjamin shot a look at the two of them, uttering, "We're good here. You guys may head back home today. Don't mention this to other people for the time being, especially to old Mr. Graham. I don't wish for him to come all the way here from the hospital and disturb his rest." Sean glanced at the couple before leaving to avoid disturbing Orissa's rest. He gave some advice to Benjamin before he took his medical box to leave. "Benjamin, remember to feed Orissa medicine after she's done eating." "Sure," Benjamin reminded him. "Don't let Gavin and the others know." "Of course," Sean said with a grin. Then, he bid Orissa goodbye before leaving. "Mr. Graham, Mrs. Graham, I'll get going too, then. Just set the food containers aside when you guys are done. I'll come to collect them tomorrow," Edwin informed before leaving with Sean. "Okay," Orissa gave a nod. The ward fell silent after they left, and Benjamin continued to feed Orissa soup. "I'll eat on my own. You must be hungry too. Let's eat together," Orissa suggested. She fixed her gaze on the serious man. "My husband sure is considerate." Benjamin merely glanced at her. "You must finish the soup first." Orissa had no choice but to let Benjamin resume feeding her. Meanwhile, Benjamin continued to feed her patiently. "Watch out for bones." "Okay." The warm soup made Orissa feel much better. Benjamin fed her pasta after she was done with the soup. "Here, let me." Orissa attempted to take the plate, but Benjamin pulled away and insisted, "Don't move around. Come on, eat your pasta." "I can eat on my own," Orissa mumbled. She was afraid that he might be hungry too. Benjamin stared at her and said, "I have to make sure you're full first, no matter how late it gets." Orissa's lips curled into a smile. "It feels better to eat together." Benjamin's eyes glinted, and he took a bite of the pasta before he continued feeding her, prompting her to smile. Although he would occasionally take a few bites, his main focus was on feeding Orissa and ensuring that she was well fed. "I'm too full now. Hurry up and eat. The food won't taste as good cold." Orissa pushed away the forkful of pasta and urged Benjamin to eat. Instead, "Okay." Benjamin only started to eat her leftovers then. Orissa's eyes crinkled, looking quite satisfied as she quietly watched Benjamin eat. Chapter 1043. Benjamin lifted his head and locked eyes with Orissa, who was watching him intently. Feeling pleased, he raised a brow but said nothing. Then, he suddenly recalled Zachary's phone call and said, "Zachary knows that you're in the hospital." Orissa snapped out of her daze and met Benjamin's impenetrable gaze. Her heart set off racing uncontrollably. "Zachary found out when I asked Sean to come over here. I told the kids that you got food poisoning. Why don't you give them a call?" Benjamin's phone rang the moment he stopped talking. This time, it was a call from Gavin. He passed the phone to Orissa. She took over the phone and put it on loudspeaker. "Daddy, how's Mommy doing?" Gavin's anxious voice came through, followed by Tim, Oliver, and Jasper's voices. "Mr. Graham, is Mommy feeling better?" Zachary said Mommy got food poisoning. "Yes, I'm all right," Orissa hurriedly said. She didn't wish to make them worry. "Mommy, it's Mommy." The children were excited to hear Orissa's voice. Orissa couldn't help but chuckle. "Have you guys had dinner yet?" she asked gently. "Yes, Mommy." Gavin got closer to the phone and shouted, "Mommy, are you feeling better?" Are you at the hospital right now? Or have you gone back home? Mommy hasn't gone home yet. Zachary piped up confidently. She would have come here if she had been discharged from the hospital. Orissa didn't know whether to laugh or cry at that. What a smart little boy. I'm feeling much better now, and I'm still in the hospital at the moment. Mommy, why are you still at the hospital? We'll go visit you. The children's anxious voices rang. Orissa switched the call to a video call so that her children could see her. Look, I'm still on the drip. So, I can't go home just yet. I'm fine now, though. Don't worry, my sweethearts. While showing the kids the IV drip attached to her hand, Orissa inadvertently showed a glimpse of Benjamin having his meal on camera. Mommy seems all right. Mr. Graham is eating. I think Mommy's condition is quite serious. That's why she's still on the drip. The children chattered among themselves. Abruptly, Tim asked Orissa, Mommy, are you coming back home tonight? Orissa was taken aback. Clearing her throat, she turned to Benjamin. Your daddy is concerned and has asked me to stay in the hospital for 2 more days for observation. Benjamin grunted to validate her statement before eating again. Mommy, it's better for you to stay in the hospital. We'll go visit you in a bit, Zachary said. Yeah, we'll visit you. The other children chimed in. Judging by their determined tone, Orissa knew there was no stopping the children. Hence, she could only nod in agreement. All right, then. But don't tell Grandpa and Great-Grandaunt about my admission to the hospital, okay? I don't want them to worry. The 6 children bobbed their heads. Okay, Mommy, we won't tell them. Has Grandpa and Great-Grandaunt eaten yet? Orissa asked as she was worried about Darius. Yes, Mommy, we ate dinner with Grandpa and Great-Grandaunt, Jessie responded as she inched closer to the screen. Orissa smiled. Are they doing well? How's Grandpa's recovery going? The children nodded. They're fine. Grandpa ate 2 servings of pasta. Orissa continued to talk to them for some time until Benjamin reminded her, it's about time you rest. The woman gave him a look before saying to her children, my sweethearts, I have to rest now. See you later, Mommy. We'll head to where you are now. Gavin exclaimed. Okay, be careful, Orissa reminded them. Get the bodyguards to send you guys over, Benjamin added before hanging up the call. Chapter 1044. As soon as Orissa stood up, Benjamin pressed her down and locked his gaze on her. What are you getting up for? He asked. Orissa blinked, revealing a hint of embarrassment. I want to go to the bathroom. Benjamin put down his fork and leaned forward to pick her up. Let me carry you there. Take your IV bag with you. Orissa held onto his neck with one hand and quickly grabbed her IV bag, which still had half a bag of medication left. Benjamin carried her to the bathroom and sat her on the toilet seat. That was when he realized that she was not wearing shoes. He then took off his leather shoes and put them on her feet. Wear my shoes. Orissa lifted her feet, hesitant. Guilt surged within her as Benjamin had to stand around in socks. It's okay, I don't need them. Be good. The floor is cold, Benjamin insisted while helping her with the shoes. Orissa, who was wearing his shoes, looked funny, like a child trying on adult shoes. She glanced at him and whispered, why don't you get my shoes for me? She smiled at the thought of wearing a man's shoes for the first time. Aren't you in a hurry to use the bathroom? Benjamin asked. He helped her with the IV bag before nudging her. Go ahead and use it. Blushing furiously, Orissa stole a glance at him. Aren't you going to go out? Benjamin's unwavering gaze was fixed on her momentarily before he turned away without a word. Orissa felt a twitch on her lips, knowing it was pointless to dither. Once inside, the sound of running water was the only thing that filled the quietness. Orissa sat on the toilet seat, her face buried in her hands, as she tried to quell the rising embarrassment. A deep flush of red crept up to her ears. When she was done, she found herself locking eyes with Benjamin upon turning around after flushing. It was not long before her gaze skittered away, and she turned to the sink. Slow down, Benjamin instructed, deftly retrieving a towel for her to wipe her hands. In one swift motion, he lifted her up into his arms again. Orissa quickly retrieved the IV bag as they made their way out. Benjamin asked, are you still bleeding? Shaking her head in response, Orissa murmured, "No." With Benjamin's shoes on her feet, Orissa couldn't help but notice his almost bare feet on the floor. "Doesn't he think the floor is dirty? Do you want your shoes back?" she asked. His gaze swept over her before he muttered, "Later." Benjamin carried her into the ward, placing her gently onto the bed. He then carefully hung the IV bag before helping her out of the shoes and into a comfortable position. "Lie down," he instructed. Orissa settled down and said, "You should keep eating. The food's getting cold." "It's fine." Benjamin sat down momentarily and took a bite of food before putting the container away. Then, he took out the medicine given by Sean and mixed it with hot water before bringing it over. "It's time for your medicine," Benjamin said firmly while looking at her. Smelling the medicine, Orissa furrowed her brows. Nonetheless, she still sat up with Benjamin's help and took the medicine. Seeing her furrowed brows as she endured the bitterness of the medicine, Benjamin couldn't help but frown as well. After Orissa finished it, he stuffed a piece of candy in her mouth. The sweetness in her mouth managed to alleviate her mood as the discomfort from taking medicine disappeared almost instantly. "You always carry candy in your pocket." She glanced at Benjamin's pocket. Benjamin put the bowl away and helped her lie down again. "You like to eat them, so I always have a few." As Orissa's heartbeat quickened, she stared at Benjamin without blinking. On the other hand, Benjamin pulled the blanket over her and tucked her in. Soon enough, Orissa realized that she was starting to sweat because of what she had consumed earlier. Instinctively, she pulled the blanket down slightly for better ventilation. The next second, Benjamin tucked her in again. "It's hot." She gave him a pitiful look. Seeing a thin layer of sweat on her nose, Benjamin grabbed a tissue and wiped it off. "You'll be fine in a moment. You can't catch a cold," he argued. Orissa did as instructed, given that the heat was still bearable. Benjamin touched her cheek and whispered softly, "If you feel uncomfortable, I'll help wipe you down in a moment." "Wipe me down." Orissa blinked her eyes before blushing in embarrassment. Chapter 1045. As Benjamin noticed the rosy tint of her cheeks, his well-defined fingers gently grazed the bridge of her nose, teasing her. "So, you're shy even though I've already seen everything," he quipped, meeting her gaze with a playful glint. Orissa glared at him and retorted, "What do you take me for? Do you think I am as thick-skinned as you?" Orissa was obviously not like Benjamin, who had ever had the cheek to ask for help to bathe him. Raising a brow, Benjamin leaned in closer to her. Orissa shrank back, frozen and rigid, and her big, round eyes never left Benjamin. Benjamin chuckled lightly, having found her defensive demeanor incredibly endearing. "Why are you moving away?" he asked. Orissa's lips twitched, and she whispered, "I'm not." Her face flushed, looking incredibly charming. Benjamin's eyes darkened, and he leaned in to capture her lips in a kiss. Both felt an electric current coursing through their bodies as their lips met. Holding her cheek in his hand, he deepened the kiss as adrenaline rushed through their veins. Cough, cough. Out of the blue, the sound of coughing echoed through the doorway. They froze, and Benjamin turned his head to look at the door with a woeful expression. Soon after, Orissa's eyes filled with mortification as she glanced at the door and saw the children. Instinctively, she pushed Benjamin away and exclaimed, "My sweethearts, you're here." Benjamin held her down before she could sit up from her agitation. He reprimanded her hushedly, "Stay in bed." Orissa's wide eyes blinked innocently as she felt wronged. The 6 little ones rushed into the room and crowded around the bed, pushing Benjamin aside. "Mommy, mommy, mommy, hey." Orissa's heart melted at the sight of the children, and she reached out to pat their little heads with a radiant smile. "How did you all arrive so quickly? We asked the driver to drive faster." Gavin's eyes sparkled as he gazed at Orissa. Tim was similarly elated, his gaze on Orissa the whole time. Concurrently, Jessie gently touched the back of her hand. "Mommy, why are you still getting injected by this?" Zachary furrowed his brows as he scrutinized Orissa. "Mommy, are you still feeling unwell?" Oliver and Jasper gazed at their mother nervously, worried about her well-being. They both inquired in unison, "Mommy, where exactly do you feel uncomfortable?" "What's wrong with Mommy?" Gavin turned his head to snap at Benjamin. Benjamin gazed at the children before raising his chin. Ask your mother. Orissa was speechless as she shot the man an annoyed glance. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be lying here in the first place. How dare he shift the blame? All 6 children turned to look at their mother, their eyes radiating conspicuous signs of distress. Mommy, what's wrong? Silence permeated the air, and the children's eyes began to well up with tears. Mommy, is your condition serious? The thought of Orissa getting sick was devastating to them. No, I'm not sick. Orissa assured them hastily. She was quiet a moment ago because she was coming up with an explanation for the children. After all, she had only reunited with Tim recently, and she had not spent much time with Gavin, yet she was pregnant again. She was worried that the news might be too upsetting for the children. Then, what's wrong? Tim scrunched up his eyebrows with his gaze fixed on Orissa. Orissa reached out and patted his head before gathering her children close to her. I don't really know how to explain. The children looked up at her, bemused. Jess's long eyelashes were misted with tears, accentuating her adorableness. Orissa kissed foreheads. Mommy, just tell us. Zachary was less worried now upon knowing she wasn't sick. With a contemplative gaze, Orissa scanned each of their faces before settling her gaze on Benjamin. Chapter 1046. Orissa considered what words to use before saying, I love all of you very much, sweethearts. The children blinked and nodded. We know. Then, she continued softly, actually, I'm not sick. I'm pregnant. In response to hearing that, the children widened their eyes in shock. Anxiety bubbled in her heart because she was afraid the children would feel dejected. The children turned to her abdomen before staring at her again. You're pregnant, Mommy? Inquired Zachary, shocked. Orissa's heart raced as she nodded at the children. Is it Mr. Graham's? Questioned Jasper. That rendered Orissa speechless. Benjamin furrowed his eyebrows and knocked on the boy's head. What are you saying? Jasper caressed his head and grinned. We have another sibling. Meanwhile, Gavin was interested in touching Orissa's belly but withdrew his hand at the last second because he didn't dare to. Jessie did the same too. Is it a boy or a girl, Mommy? Wondered Tim out loud with anticipation. Upon observing the children's joyous expressions, Orissa sighed with relief. Benjamin glanced at her before at the children. You all should be careful. Don't accidentally bump into your mommy. In response, the children glanced at Benjamin before turning back to Orissa. If you're pregnant, why are you on the drip, Mommy? Furrowing his eyebrows, Gavin held his mother's hand with concern. Smiling, Orissa comforted, my body was feeling a little weak, which is why I'm on the IV drip. Also frowning, Tim worriedly asked, are you feeling better now, Mommy? Much better. She grinned at the children and comforted them. It wasn't as serious as Daddy said it was. No need to be so careful. Staring at his mother's abdomen, Oliver asked with intrigue, can I touch your tummy, Mommy? Orissa nodded, sure. Upon gaining his mother's permission, he gently touched her belly. Be good inside, okay? Otherwise, I won't forgive you when you're out of Mommy. Jasper did the same. Don't be naughty, all right. Behave yourself inside. I wanna touch too, Jasper. Jessie was too short to reach her mother's baby bump. Slow down. Don't bump into her. Orissa beamed kindly as she watched her children touch her abdomen with curiosity. Turning to Benjamin, Zachary asked, how long does Mommy need to stay in the hospital, Mr. Graham? At least a few days. She needs her rest, Benjamin answered. In a while, all of you will be sent home. I'll stay here and keep your mommy company. Promptly, the children turned to Benjamin and stated resolutely, we want to stay here and keep Mommy company, too. Benjamin frowned, whereas Orissa chuckled and coaxed, you must return home and rest, sweethearts. Tomorrow, you all will go to Grandpa's place to play with Grandpa and great-grandaunt. Your daddy will accompany all of you there while I stay in the hospital by myself. Then she glanced at Benjamin. Take them back home. He swept his gaze past her and eyed the IV drip bag, which was almost empty. Hence, he summoned a nurse by pressing the nurse call button. Soon, a nurse arrived to remove the needle. Jessie touched the spot the needle was on Orissa's hand. Is it still painful, Mommy? Then she blew at that spot, which warmed Arissa's heart instead. "Four's not painful anymore." Meanwhile, Benjamin kept a close eye on the children in case they suddenly pounced toward their mother. Chapter 1047. The children stayed for another half an hour before Benjamin checked the time and said, "It's almost 9. Time for us to go home." However, the children felt as though they had only been there for a short while. "It's still early," Gavin argued. "We haven't spent enough time with Mommy," pleaded Zachary. Oliver and Jasper nodded in unison. "We want to stay here a little longer." Grabbing Arissa's hand, Tim added, "Me too." Turning directly to her mother, Jessie cooed, "How about we stay here and keep you company, Mommy? We'll be good, I promise." Grinning, Arissa patted the girl's head and pinched Tim's cheek before turning to Benjamin. "Let them stay for a little longer." Benjamin gazed at her. "You need rest." "I'm fine." His lack of reply prompted her to turn to her children. "All of you can stay a little longer, but you must go home, sweethearts. There isn't any place for you to sleep in the hospital. If you're all here, I'll occasionally pay attention to you. As a result, I won't be able to rest." The children exchanged glances before nodding. "Okay, Mommy." They then fed her fruits while chatting delightfully with her. After Benjamin made sure that the children were behaving themselves, he went outside to call Darius. "Mr. Hinton said he's coming back, Mommy. He called us when he was on the highway," informed Zachary. Arissa's eyes lit up with joy. "He's back." "Yeah, he may even arrive here soon," Oliver answered. That put a smile on her face. "It's good that Bradley's back. I'll ask him to keep the children company tomorrow. You should call him later, Mommy." The children continued to feed her fruit. "How many babies are inside you, Mommy?" asked Jessie curiously. The girl's question amused Arissa. "Do you think I got pregnant with multiple babies again?" "Maybe you are." Jasper narrowed his eyes as he giggled. "I certainly don't mind having more siblings." Gavin, Tim, Zachary, and Oliver laughed. They were looking forward to that possibility. "You should give birth to a few more babies, Mommy. We'll help you take care of our siblings." Just as Arissa was laughing, she suddenly felt discomfort in her abdomen. Expeditiously, she held her belly and stopped smiling. When Gavin spotted her expression, he anxiously questioned, "Are you feeling unwell, Mommy?" "Hold on, Mommy. We'll go and call for a doctor." Zachary and the others panicked as well and were just about to run out of the room. Arissa quickly reassured, "It's nothing serious. No need to worry about me. I just laughed a bit too hard." After Benjamin ended his call, entered the ward, and saw the children panicking, he frowned. "What's the matter?" Without delay, Tim answered, "Mommy seems to be in discomfort, Mr. Graham." The expression on Benjamin's countenance shifted before he turned to Arissa and pressed the call button again. Seeing that she had failed to stop them, she sighed and said, "I'm fine." "Stop worrying." Patting her head, Benjamin asked with concern, "Where are you hurting?" "I just laughed a little too hard earlier. I'm fine now." She thought her explanation would put him at ease, but it only made him worry more. When the doctor entered the ward with a nurse, Benjamin took the children to the side, making way for the doctor to examine Arissa. After a brief examination, the doctor replied, "Mrs. Graham is fine, Mr. Graham. Her condition has stabilized." Chapter 1048. With a worried frown, Benjamin informed the doctor, she felt a little discomfort in her stomach when she laughed earlier. The doctor nodded. "She may have laughed too hard. There's no need to worry. Just be more mindful next time. Being in a good mood would also help recovery, but don't get overexcited." "Thank you, doctor," Arissa murmured, embarrassed. "Take care of yourself, Mrs. Graham. Call us whenever you need anything." At that final concerned reminder, the doctor led the nurse away. Benjamin nodded to the doctor, then poured Arissa a glass of water once they left. He sat by the bed and helped her with the drink. Meanwhile, the 6 children stood by guiltily, stealing glances at Benjamin and Arissa. She chuckled at the sight of the children. "What's wrong, my darlings? This wasn't your fault. Don't worry about it. We won't make you laugh that hard anymore, Mommy," Gavin promised solemnly, his gaze fraught with worry. Arissa caressed his head affectionately. "I'm all right, Don't worry. She then gazed at Tim, Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse. What's wrong? We're sorry, Mommy. We didn't know you couldn't laugh too hard. Jasper cried guiltily. Proud of her children, Orissa bent down to hug them. It's all right. Didn't you hear what the doctor said? Being in a good mood will help with my recovery. It wasn't your fault, as I was the one who got too worked up. Thank you, Mommy. Sprawled on the bed, the 6 children gazed at her, their eyes shining. Orissa smiled at them indulgently. Finish your water. While her attention was on the children, Benjamin held the glass near her lips, with his gaze fixed on her. Shifting her gaze away from the children, Orissa did as she was told. Then, Benjamin wiped the droplets of water from the corner of her lips. Orissa felt a tingling sensation where his fingers had grazed and gazed up at him. Take the children home. Benjamin placed the glass down, tucked her in, and prepared to usher the children out so she could get some rest. Don't move about too much while you're alone, all right? Orissa nodded. Do you need to use the bathroom? Benjamin asked gently. She merely shook her head. I'll take them home, then. I'll be back after I pack some clothes, Benjamin said. Orissa gazed at him. You should stay home with them. I can manage on my own. Ring the bell if you need anything. I'll be back soon. Orissa smiled at Benjamin's assertiveness. I will. She turned to the children. Go home with Daddy, children. She turned to the children. Go home with Daddy, children. Mommy. The children grabbed her hand reluctantly. We're going home then. Rest well. Yeah. Give me a call when you get home. After nodding at her instructions, the children leaned over to kiss her cheeks. All right, we're leaving, Benjamin announced. The children turned to face him before making their way reluctantly to the door. Go on. You won't be able to sleep here in the hospital. Take a shower and sleep early when you get home, Orissa reminded the children. We will, Mommy. Zachary nodded as he led his siblings out with him. We're leaving now. Don't move about on your own. Summon the doctors and nurses or the bodyguard outside your door if you need anything, Benjamin urged. Orissa smiled and nodded. I will. Take them home, it's getting late. Benjamin gave a slight nod. After leaving some instructions for the bodyguard at the door, he took the children away. Over here. Benjamin called out to the children as he strode toward the elevator, with all 6 scampering to catch up. Benjamin noticed the children's surreptitious glances at him, though they did not dare say a word. Chapter 1049. Benjamin's eyes twinkled. He addressed the children in a gentler voice. Your mother is pregnant, and she's a little frail. Watch your volume when you're around her, all right? The children bobbed their heads. Got it. Benjamin caressed their heads in turn, and they arrived at an unspoken and reconciliatory agreement. As he led them up the stairs, the children exchanged glances before turning as one to face Gavin, who gazed up at Benjamin. Why don't you keep Mommy company, Daddy? We'll go home ourselves. Benjamin returned Gavin's gaze. I'm bringing you home as I still have to pack. Oh, the boy answered. Benjamin led them into the elevator. Come on, we should be getting home. The children trotted after him. The chauffeur was already waiting at the entrance when they arrived. Benjamin ushered them into the car before urging the driver to hurry home. Meanwhile, Orissa picked up her phone to give Bradley a call. The cacophony of noise on the other end sounded as if he was driving. Hey, boss. Orissa smiled. Gavin said you're coming back. Where are you? I just passed the toll and would be in the city in 10 minutes, came Bradley's voice, accompanied by the sound of a horn blaring. Rest well when you get back. I won't keep you any longer. Drive safe. Orissa did not say much else to Bradley so he could focus on driving. All right, then. I'll drop by soon. I brought gifts for Gavin and the rest. Orissa chuckled. No problem. They're home, so just head on over there. Have Edwin make you something if you're hungry. Aren't you at home, boss? Bradley asked curiously upon noticing the clue in her words. That's right. I'm not. The children are, though. You can go on over. Spend the night and hang out with them. Orissa thought it was a good idea for Bradley to spend time with the children. Where did you go, boss? Aren't you going to be home tonight? Bradley asked glumly. I won't be. Drive safe, and talk soon. Orissa hurriedly hung up without telling him that she was in the hospital. Soon, Benjamin arrived home with the children. After asking Edwin to keep an eye on them, he headed to the bedroom to gather some clean clothes and toiletries before heading back to the hospital. Lying in bed, Orissa was scrolling listlessly through her phone when she widened her eyes with surprise at the sight of the man entering. That was quick. Having expected him later that night, Orissa was shocked. She stared at Benjamin, who returned her gaze with a smile. You don't want to see me. Orissa tossed her phone aside. That's not true. It only took you half an hour to get there and back. I came back after packing some things. It didn't take long. Benjamin turned to put the clothes away. Orissa pouted. He must have sped. Suddenly, her phone rang. She grabbed it and, upon finding out it was the children calling, quickly picked up. We've taken our showers, Mommy. 6 little heads huddled before the phone camera held at length by a selfie stick. They were gazing at her with grins on their faces. All of them were sitting cross-legged on the bed, washed and cleaned. That was fast. By the way, has Mr. Hinton arrived, children? He said he would drop by to see you, Orissa said. Not yet. We're planning to call him after calling you, Zachary replied. As soon as he spoke, Jasper tugged on Zachary's sleeve. I heard the sound of a car, Zachary. Could it be Mr. Hinton? In an instant, Gavin, Oliver, and Jesse slid off the bed and hurried to the balcony. Then, a raucous cry sounded. That looks like Mr. Hinton's car, Mommy. Chapter 1050. It's Mr. Hinton. Mr. Hinton is here, Mommy. The children's cheer sounded so loudly that even Benjamin heard them. He turned to Orissa and, upon noticing the smile on her face, narrowed his eyes. Have Mr. Whitley prepare something for Mr. Hinton as he might not have had dinner. Also, he's spending the night at our place. As Daddy and I are not home, you are to listen to Mr. Whitley and Mr. Hinton, understood? Don't worry, Mommy. We'll head downstairs now and have Mr. Whitley prepare some supper. As Gavin spoke, he slid off the bed and headed toward the door with his younger siblings in tow. The screen became a blur as they ran. Orissa smiled as she listened to the children's footsteps. Slow down. Watch your step. Yes, Mommy, we won't fall. The children chorused happily, anxious to see Bradley. Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse knew Bradley well, who they saw as family as he had lived with them since they were young. Gavin and Tim were also fond of Bradley. Though they did not spend as much time with him, they found him to be good company. As Bradley did not often return from Rudisei village, it was natural for them to miss him. The children's footsteps sounding over the phone delighted Orissa. Benjamin came over with a glass of water. Have a sip. He took her phone but could not see a thing except the children's feet descending the stairs. He could not even tell which of the children they belonged to. Tuck yourselves in early. We're hanging up, he told them and hung up without waiting to see if the children had heard. Orissa glanced at Benjamin and noticed the tautness of displeasure on his features. What's up? She asked as she took the glass of water from him. Surely, he's not jealous of the kids. Benjamin sat by the bed and studied her intently. The unfathomable depth of his gaze made Orissa's heart race uncontrollably whenever he scrutinized her in that manner. What is it? Her voice dropped. Why do I suddenly feel guilty? You seem very happy about Bradley being back. Benjamin leaned over and gazed imperiously at her. Orissa froze before giggling at the scowl on his face. Meeting Benjamin's gaze, she quickly retracted hers and cleared her throat. It actually bothers him. Geez. You're upset, huh? Suppressing her urge to laugh, she eyed his pettiness with amusement. Am I not allowed to be upset? Benjamin retorted. Orissa pouted and placed a hand on his chest. Benjamin's displeasure evaporated as he watched her movements. I told you, Bradley is family to me. That's all. If our children come home after being away for a long time, wouldn't you be happy to see them? Bradley is like my little brother. Benjamin scoffed. That was a pretty radiant smile you had on. Orissa's lips twitched, though she felt a sweetness in her heart. Nonetheless, she was rendered speechless by how unreasonable he was. She gazed at him with amusement. Would you like me to cry instead? You should take a shower. It's getting late, Orissa said, attempting to change the subject. Benjamin stared at her for a while before heading to the bathroom and emerging with a basin of warm water soon after. I'm wiping you down. Orissa was aghast. Is he serious? I'll do it myself, she said hastily as Benjamin rinsed the towel. You can't manage on your own. Benjamin glanced at her, wrung the towel dry, and began to wipe her face. Orissa was rendered speechless.